Good morning, Green County. Good morning. All right, good to see you all this morning. Now I'm talking a little loudly. Why is that? Well, I always talk loudly. There you go. Thank you for that. So today we are going to talk about one of the implementation steps. And you remember last week we had a great presentation from Bill Prince on the 10 steps to implementation. And it got us to thinking, well, we need to do this step called MiniGames. And what are MiniGames? And what do they mean? And why would we be doing them? We're a governmental entity. Why are we playing games? Yeah, exactly. So we're going to start out with a game right off the bat. Okay? You know that we've upgraded this room and the technology is wonderful. But the one thing that we didn't do, because you know, Green County, we keep a tight budget on everything. We upgraded the technology and didn't do the sound system. So we've noticed that our recordings each week, the sound is lacking. So I'm going to try to stand close to the mic because I tend to wander off and then it doesn't pick me up. And I'm going to talk loudly. And I want you all to talk loudly too. When you have a question, when you're responding, speak loudly. And then we'll get that on our recording. Okay? Can we do that?
Yes.
Okay. The second thing I'm noticing from the camera's view, and the camera is behind us, behind this monitor, is when we're at the camera and we're looking at the crowd and we're focused on Angie, the seats look empty because these rows right here aren't populated. So here's the next game. Everybody here, shift to the right. Everybody here, shift to the left. Now, you're going to be on camera. It just means the back of your head looks like we have people in the room. Okay? Now, that's our mini game for the huddle. Okay? That was easy. Yeah, we already got it.
Taste it.
Okay. So that game is what we'll do every time we come into the room. Now, hopefully, if we can get an upgrade to the sound system, we won't have to yell at each other. Okay? How about that? Okay, so Jared has the checklist on the screen. And did any of you notice that there was attachments set out with the huddle minute? Did anybody? Oh, Julie. Oh, Debbie. Who else has those attachments printed out to look at? Okay, Rhonda. All right, we got 3 winners we're going to have to get prizes for. Okay? Woo-hoo! So we wanted to give you those attachments to give you a sneak peek of what that meant. What is the checklist? You know, how is it that we start a mini game and why? Okay. So thank you guys for kind of paying attention that there was an attachment to it. So if we go through the checklist, the purpose of a mini game is to be objective and to be meaningful to the overall performance. Now, does that mean we have to impact the whole performance of the entire county? No. What does it mean? Shout it out.
We can just improve one process at a time, just to make one improvement.
Exactly, Andrea. Just make one improvement. Find something you want to improve. That's all it is. Everybody thinks, boy, it's hard to do a mini game. It's hard to come up with something. We hear that a lot. But how many people have some small thing in their office that they want to improve? It's kind of been on their mind. They've kind of been thinking, I want to improve this. But they don't take steps to do that. So a mini game helps you do that. It encourages you to do that. it gives you something that is visual. As you can see, we've got a game board here. And that was a county game board that we did here in the huddle. You gotta wanna know. Yeah.
This is like what Megan was talking about last week, meeting new people. There's a whole bunch of people in here from different departments. Have you met everybody? This was what we played, and Megan was encouraging that last week. So it's a cool board. You should come check it out before you leave.
Yeah, so it becomes visual, and then you may not all be able to see, but there's gauges on the side where it becomes accountable. So not only is it visual, but it makes you accountable for whatever you're trying to do. Okay. Mini games also clearly define what the win is. And the win isn't some huge kind of thing. The win can be a small win. It could be something small for your department that you want to see improved. So that, you know, when you say, oh, I got to define the win. Well, the win is just meeting that goal or meeting that item that you're trying to improve. And again, it can be just process. A lot of process improvement is a goal. All the players see the line of sight. So there's a goal and there's a target. You can see that from the mini game boards that we have here. We've got a couple other samples also, and please come up and talk to us about it. We'll probably leave time at the end so that you can see those. The team is competing against a problem and not each other. So that's really a key component, right? People are competing to solve the issue. They're not competing against each other. You know, so you're not trying to knock out your teammate. You're trying to knock out the problem or the issue that you're trying to address. The time frame is limited. Now, I know in the auditor's office, our mini games are typically 6 weeks long. So there's a beginning and an end. And we want it to be long enough to create habits, but not so long that it creates boredom. So we want to get to an end result. So we typically have our 6 weeks. The scoreboard should be easily visible and frequently scored, so you need to keep track. We review the scoreboards and the score. Prizes. Now, as everybody knows, the county can't provide prizes. So what do you do about that? You become creative in low cost, no cost kind of things. I know we've got a small office, and so we're able to do some things. My people love to eat. Who doesn't, right? Well, yeah, look. So if we just have a group lunch, that's a prize. If we go to Andy's, yeah. So it's something small that's memorable for your folks. What do they enjoy? So find something that's memorable and meaningful to them. It's typically not a gift card or cash. It's typically something that creates a memory. Prizes reward performance. Prizes should not motivate performance. So if your folks are motivated for the prize and not the performance, we need to try to rethink that. We need to try to gear that toward being successful in the performance. And the prize is just like kind of a nice thing at the end. MiniGames has a theme. There's always a theme. And I remember the HR one with the football players. They had each of the HR team members' face on a football player, and they were moving down the field. And for me, that was memorable when I saw that game board. So, you know, create a theme for your office for each game that you're considering playing. When you're creating a game, think far enough ahead that you understand if there's negative outcomes or unintended consequences. how does this affect the team as a whole? How does it affect other departments that you may interact with? And those kinds of things. And they suggest a scorekeeper be appointed to settle disputes. I've never seen a dispute in a mini game, but maybe we're just a continuum group. I don't know. But that's one of the things they have on their list. Okay, so Angie's going to kind of help us build a game. Okay, so Jared, we're going to go to the other template that has the building a game, and she's going to help you walk through creating a game, and it's going to take that fear factor away because this was in the attachment that we sent. So the first 2 pages of the attachment walks you through how to do it, and the last 2 pages are fillable PDFs, so you can use that to fill out and make your own game.
Okay. All right. So the first step in your mini game is to select the objective. What is the targeted problem or opportunity? So it doesn't always have to be a problem. What opportunity do you want to, or what goals, a stretch goal that you have for your offices or your departments? So what's a targeted problem or an opportunity that we can work on? Just talking it out here in the huddle. Did nobody go get Trailer Park coffee this morning? Okay, I'll help you out. So when we first started playing the game, in our office, we felt like that we needed to talk about communication. Sometimes it's hard to communicate with others. All right, so we set some parameters of what that looked like in our office for communication. We set the goal is communication. Nothing was off the table. We could ask any questions in our safe spot of our team meeting every Tuesday afternoon. Okay, so in those parameters, our improvement goal was to improve our communication for our office. Okay, that's a great one to start out with, and it doesn't have to be like this. Everybody can make it their own game. All right, so the improvement goal was to improve our communication backwards and forwards. So from Cindy's, what she's hearing, that she can share with us as a team so that we are able to do the best that we can do in our positions. And then we funnel that information back to her as we're seeing stuff in our jobs. Okay, so the first improvement goal, what's the benefit of that? Okay, so first of all, that sets some ground rules and it sets some trust because people have a safe space to have that talk. There's a lot of hard questions that we've asked along the way. And if you don't have that sense of trust to be able to ask your supervisor, hey, what's going on with this and why is this affecting us, then you don't move. You're just kind of, butt in the seat and you focus on the job and getting it done. But if you're engaged and you understand the why behind things and why they're happening, then you go, oh, okay, well, that makes more sense. And then you've earned that sense of trust and you can move a little bit forward, right? Okay, so identify the players. So in our office, it was our 6 teammates, and we put all of our names on the board. This one was Cindy, Connie, Justin, Debbie, Janet, and Angie. This was back when I was the low one on the totem pole. But I like being there because I
Justin, do you remember that?
It's been a long time.
But communication's never been a strong
Okay, so then it says determine a time frame. So like Cindy said, 6 weeks is our time frame that we felt like was a good niche for us. Because you can go up to 12 weeks? Mm-hmm. But at some point in time, you kind of get a little bored with the game. I don't know about you guys, but we did. So we felt like 6 weeks was our good target point. All right, so then we created our theme, which is a bullseye, open game, so you can, we did open season. We called it open season because nothing was off the board. Everything was active. It didn't matter if it was ducks, turkeys, whatever. We could do everything at one time. All right, so then what we did was decide on the rewards. Okay, so our office, our reward was, because we're a small office, we're able to shut our door and leave and go off campus for lunch, which is awesome because we usually bring our lunch and we're always here on campus. So ours was, we're going to close our office, we're going off campus, and we're going to go have lunch somewhere else. And so what we did is started playing the game. And when we played the game, the point values that you were given each week, you had to meet on the designated date and time. So you have to set your parameters of what your game looks like. We had to meet on the started time. So we established 4 o'clock every Tuesday, every week. And then you have to provide some type of positive feedback. Everybody in the huddle had to provide that. And if you're not starting with a positive, it straight goes to negative. So you want to uplift your team, not go down all the time. Something learned to increase efficiency. So we have this thing in our office, and I know Justin started a long time ago with me, was, hey, I learned something new in Excel. I know a lot of people don't appreciate that, but by golly, if it's Excel and I've learned something new, I want to tell somebody about it. And I learned a lot of that from Justin, and he has helped develop my love of Excel. But that was one of the positive things that we did because somebody else in our office could have used that same trick or tip. So being able to pass something positive forward. And everybody had to contribute. Nobody was able to sit over here in the corner and just kind of observe. We all had to put their stuff on the table and be able to have a topic to talk about. And these were some of the best conversations that we had because the dialogue was so open that we felt like we were really engaging and building as a team and really getting close and building that trust. So what's coming to your mind now that we've kind of talked through what that process looked like? What's coming to your minds of some of the things that you can build efficiencies on in your offices?
Okay, so are we ready to build a game while we're in this room? Is anybody willing to tell us an efficiency or something they'd like to improve? What do you got? What do you got that you want to improve? If it's crickets in here, we know there's a real problem because you're not recognizing it. Yes, John.
I think we all do a good job of this, but I think it's something we all work on is improving information flow to citizens of the county.
Okay, so that's a great one. And like you said, although we feel like we do a fairly good job, it can always be improved. Okay, so if we started with that idea, Angie, we're going to start with the blank slate, improve communications to our citizens. So what's the improvement goal? What do we want to say that would be measurable as far as we've selected the objective, now setting the improvement goal? Maybe that means so many touch points in a certain time period. Maybe that's pushing out X number of communications in a time period. What do you feel like that looks like to you? You all are citizens of the county. What would it look like to you if we increased communication?
There was like a regular update or something. You know, there's that communication is supposed to come out on such and such day or every so many weeks or whatever.
Okay, so regular updates. Okay. And that's something that could be measurable if we decided it was weekly or how I wouldn't want it any longer than weekly, and daily may be too frequent. Yes.
Kind of the same thing, but I was thinking, I know we get a lot of calls up in building regs for completely wrong departments. I mean, like the court cases and people needing help with rental problems with mold and stuff. They just don't know where to look. So I don't know if maybe we, you know, as departments, we could have put out like frequently asked questions and where to find those answers.
Yeah, I like that. Does anybody know that the county has a document like that? Because we're not communicating it right. So Megan, we have a document like that we developed several years ago that may need updating. And we probably need to push that out. Or it needs to be front and center on our website. And it should be available to all employees. I know when we do the onboarding for new employees, that piece of nugget is in the packet. So that new employees that take those calls, they don't know, they can look in that packet, where's that question found? So that's exactly part of the communication piece. Great, great, great idea. Okay, the next one is estimate the benefits. So what's the benefit of that? Of communicating to the citizens? Oh, okay, this is a softball.
It saves our time, it saves their time, it's more efficient, they get their needs met efficiently and quickly.
Very good. Very good, Julie.
I think also the caliber of information, because if we don't get it out there in a newspaper or a TV station or somebody gets it out, they're not hearing directly what actually our information is. It's like plain telephone, you know, and that way it's the true information and it's what needs to be out there.
Yeah. We can guarantee the integrity of the information that's being pushed out. Those are great ideas. Okay. Identify the players who can impact the game.
Every single one of us.
Yes.
Every single one of us. Every single one of us can help communicate what the message that Greene County has. Yeah, so there's no limitation on players. Okay, determine the time frame. Now, when we say this, it's the time frame from the game. But remember, the game creates habits. So the habit should continue whether the game continues or not. So what kind of time frame do you want on this game?
Probably 6 weeks, because it takes at least that long to form a habit.
Okay, 6 weeks. We'll go with that. All right, now here's the fun part. Create a theme. Okay. So what do we want as a theme? Come on, it's okay. Smiling, shout it out.
Think of the game of telephone, like that's with the string or something.
Okay, a telephone, an old-fashioned hardline telephone with a string, a wire. It's actually attached to something.
I miss those phones.
We might even have a party talk line or something.
We used to.
Yeah,
We used to.
how about that? Okay, so we've got a theme. Old-fashioned communication really is what that is. You know, it's not the text or the tweet or the email. It's actually picking up the phone and talking to somebody. Okay, all right. So, well, you guys are just breezing through this. I don't think you're going to have any problem at all creating a game on your own. Look how easy this is. And what you do is your team comes together, and that's exactly what happens. Come together and they communicate, and they come up with this. So that's great. Okay, so we will talk about building a scoreboard. That's probably the hardest thing that probably most departments encounter is, you know, they look at some of the boards that we've created, and Lord knows accountants aren't creative, but you will be surprised that accountants have created a creative side. And so, you know, they can be as simple as you want. Use supplies that are in your office. Use supplies that have been recycled. I mean, you know.
This was FedEx triangle tubes that we got from General Services that they hadn't used in years. And I said, can I take those off your hands? And they go, yeah. And we found the paper that was cheap, and all of the stuff we found either online or, you know, we had a activity box that's got colored paper and different stickers in it. So we did that pretty cheaply.
Mm-hmm. Yeah, so it doesn't have to be any out-of-pocket money or expense, and it can be something very simple, something easy. Decide on the rewards, and our games typically, because they're just 6 weeks, we typically reward ourselves at the end if we've met our goal. But some longer games, you might need incremental rewards. But why don't you guys shout out what you would like as a reward if you were playing the games? Just shout out.
Donuts.
Donuts.
Old fashioned with chocolate.
Old fashioned with chocolate. Okay, that's specific. I like that. Specific. What was the other one?
Leave early.
Leave early. A favorite parking spot. Yeah. Why aren't you guys coming up with that one? Come on now. Okay. Yeah. So you kind of just decide what's meaningful to your folks, your group, and create the reward around that. And then we play the game and we celebrate the win. So we're ready to start this game once we build a board. Would you all like this game to be our huddle game that we measure for the next 6 weeks in this room? You guys developed it.
It sounds good.
Okay. All right. So we just need to create a board. Megan, why don't you work with our office and we'll create a board. Okay. And then we need to set the kind of the goal and how we want this communication to go out. Do we want it to be weekly? Do we want it to be every other day? What do you guys think as a citizen that you want to receive information? Weekly. Okay. All right. So next Tuesday we have a departmental section regarding the assessor. But we'll take a few minutes to share the game board and start measuring that. We'll start playing the game. We'll kick off the game next week. Okay, so be thinking now. John brought up the topic, but it is not just the commission, is it? All of the offices can utilize the game to better communicate to our citizens. You typically put that on the commission, but it's all of us. Every department has information they can be shared. What does that tell me? 2 minutes?
We got 2 minutes.
Okay. We did good. We taught how to create a game and we developed a game on 30 minutes. Now, that great game, this takes an hour and a half. So you guys were great. As we wrap up these couple of minutes, does anybody from the steering committee have some ideas of some games you want to start in your department? Bill, did you guys come up with a game? You're playing the game.
Yeah, I mean, we're doing with our reorganization. We have a lot of we kind of call it, as opposed to a mini game, sort of eating the elephant one bite at a time. So we have lots of
yeah. Okay. Anybody else have some ideas for a game they want to start building with their department? Because I'm going to ask you again next week. So you take this back to you tomorrow. You communicate this back to your department. Either they're in the room or they're online live streaming. And we hope to get the videos posted soon. Mm-hmm. And so take this back to your department and chew on it, as Bill would say, and come back next week with something that you want to provide a solution for.
I do remember one now that we did. I don't think I have time to talk about it, but we were trying to address the issue of gossip in the office. Mm-hmm. We did that with a little project, so but that may take longer.
Oh, wow. But can everybody relate to that? Yeah, great. You might have to elaborate a little bit more on a little bit next week.
Yeah, I'll tell you some things about some people. No.
Well, it's been great sharing some of our mini game experience with you. We're here to help. You've got the tools now to build your own. Don't let the boards intimidate you. If you need some help there, we'd be glad to lend a hand.